Namaste to my friends from the CSR community and all my beloved development practitioners. I'm Dr. Basavaraju Shridhar, and in this episode of GRAAM CSR Vocal, I have an interesting person whom I don't need to introduce to most of you. The professionals in the CSR sector know him very well. He is from a company that pioneered the values of philanthropy, giving back to the society. Their commitment to the ethical and corporate governance practices always set a benchmark for others to follow. This is interesting to know. The company is recognized with many awards, friends. They have received President of India's award for employing the disabled. They are signatory to the Global Compact, receives the prestigious Helen Keller Award and Mother Teresa Award. The company has been ranked with the highest rating of 4 in the Karmayog CSR rating of India's top 500 companies from 2007 till 2012. Golden Peacock Award on Environmental Management by Frost and Sullivan bestowed on this company. Tamil Nadu government recognition as the best company in CSR activities. Best Governed Company Award from Asian Center for Corporate Governance. Many more to say. Yes, we are talking about Tata Company Ltd. At Tata, corporate social responsibility is more than a philanthropy. It reflects its core values. CSR initiatives are taken up by organizations to create significant impact on society they work for. The company believes in engaging employees in its programs. Programs are designed to fulfill sustainable development. Titan CSR is driven by broad themes such as upliftment of underprivileged girls, skill development for the marginalized sections of the society, and support for Indian arts, crafts, and heritage. Today, I'm delighted to have Mr. Shridhar NE, who is currently the AVP and Head of Corporate Social Responsibility at Tata Company Ltd since 2012. Under his leadership, the company is working on creating a sustainability strategy for the company that encompasses CSR, climate change, affirmative action, that are integrated into business strategy. He is also responsible for business excellence as corporate quality head and responsible for the safety and occupational health across the company. We are really delighted to have you as part of our CSR Vocal, which is GRAAM's CSR Leaders Talk series. Welcome you, sir, for this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, GRAAM. Thank you, SVYM, and thank you, Dr. Basavaraj, for calling me over. It's always been an honor and prestige to interact with professionals. I've been involved with the mother organization SCYM for the last almost 8 years, and I've been also seeing the growth, the birth and the growth of GRAAM, and everyone has been part of these great institutions. We have been part of this, we have been working with them, and we have also been interacting with the great institution. Personally, I would have liked to have done much more interactions, but obviously it's a matter of progress and time for everything. So thank you so much for inviting me over. I'll be very happy to participate and share my experience and thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Let's start our conversation by understanding the CSR in Tata. Having imbibed the legacy of Tata Group, which has always believed in serving the community and improving the quality of living of people it touched. Can you please tell us how it has influenced Titan CSR?
I think you rightly mentioned and pointed out being part of this very great institution of this country, the House of Tatas. From the very beginning, the philosophy of the community being the very purpose of our existence has been part of the way Titan began its journey 30 years back. If I just give you 2-3 examples to tide over this point, we recruited people when we started in 86, 87 from the hinterlands of Tamil Nadu, from the villages, from the farthermost communities belonging to various castes, and then actually took them from perhaps the school dropouts, and created some of the finest craftsmen in the country, the watchmakers. And therefore, from then onwards, we never looked back. We said, whatever we do, we will do with the communities. So the people who joined the company were from those places. We never had people from the watch industry when we started this business. The second example I would say has been, if we were to look back when we started the factories, and when I said this is true even in other locations, be it Pantnagar, be it Roorkee, be it Dehradun, be it Sikkim, the philosophy is the same. We will go out and recruit people from the most needy community, wherever they are, and travel there and then get them in. The second most important thing, and I say it is embedded in the way we run our business, is also the fact that when we started in Hoso, just to give the same example, there were a lot of challenges and issues we were speaking about in those days in terms of the girl child, the women, and so on and so forth. So we said, why can't we make them as part of our own way of running a business? So we helped them organize themselves into self-help groups. I'm talking about 30 years plus back. And therefore, today, perhaps I would probably say that we have one of the finest self-help groups, which is a self-sustaining business model working with the company for the last 30 plus years, the women empowerment, the work what we do with Meadows in Hosur. So it's been part and parcel. The third example, and I'll pause here, the next industry what we started was jewelry industry. The manner in which jewelry in the country is being made even till today, we try to transform that by transforming the lives of the karigars. And therefore today we have one of the finest sustainable models of a karigar center, where the people who were used to a certain way of working have changed the way of life. So it has been a part and parcel of the company's way they run the business. And thereafter, it was just a mere formality when the Company Act came in, just to put in a structure around certain things and move forward. So this is just the way I thought we were kicked off, the way in which our own organization embraced the entire what you call social responsibility and a responsible citizenship behavior in the country. You take any company, the place Jamshedpur is actually called Tata Nagar, and that itself says volumes of why it was called Tata Nagar. Many things in the country which were started off, be it 8-hour working, what people see, or be it today what we call as creases in companies, is all actually the origin from Tata Steel 100 years back. And therefore, we owe it to the existence of such organizations, such companies, some of them 100 plus years and some of them maybe recently started. And obviously, we are proud to welcome institutes and organizations and companies and corporates like Air India back to our fold. And very soon, you'll probably see the finest Tata engagement with them.
Very inspiring, sir. So very touching to know CSR not only about outside the company. It must start from within the company, and it should also take care of people who are working for the company. It's quite inspiring to know. So thank you so much for taking us through your journey. But going forward, can you elaborate more on the journey so far in the CSR and sustainability of Titan as a leader in the sector? What are your thoughts on CSR ecosystem in India?
I think let me take it in two parts. One of the most important things when we started this whole formal journey after the Company Act came in was the fact that we said that the most important thing, in fact, just to give you a 20-second about my background and my team's background in CSR, none of us are from what we call the NGO or development sector. So the first thing, and what is the reason for the company's success in Titan, is innovation. So our mandate was to innovate in everything what we do, including CSR. Okay. And therefore, from that perspective, even the function and the department was created of people who are passionate about doing something for the community, and more importantly, leverage what is their strength for the community. Just to give 2-3 examples, I have a colleague who is a chartered accountant who's in my team who works on the skill development. I have a colleague who was an NIFT designer who was designing watches and jewelry. She's on my team working on projects. I have a person who's coming from a background of who's a president of the ex-employee union of Titan who's in my team. So the point is, passion is a common word, and more importantly, what we bring to the table. And that's the first philosophy. The second and the most important philosophy is, and that we are very blessed to have such a wonderful management and the board of Titan is that they said that, look, this money, whatever we earmark 2% or beyond that, anything is for the community and you should use it for the community. Don't try to bring in stuff and things like that, which will indirectly or directly pay back to the company. And this is from day one, 2013, when people were all figuring out, like, can I invest in skilling, which means like, somebody will join back my company? No. So I think that was a wonderful thing which the company started off, and therefore it gave us the leverage to innovate and bring in many, many new things in the world. Even if I look at the three areas what we work in, the underprivileged girl child education, why did we choose that? Obviously, at that point in time, or perhaps even much later, until today, the subject of the girl child and the women is perhaps not portrayed in the right space in the country. And therefore, what all happenings we see around is something which we always want to do without it. Whether it's a Nirbhaya, what happened in those days, or anything around. So Titan as a company, if you look at it, most of our businesses are about women. 100% of the jewelry is about women. Okay, and that's about 80% of my business. 50% of my watches I wear. So the subject of girl child and women is something which the company is very dear to. Now that is the business connect we look at. So can we leverage that understanding of this community and do something for the community, being with them, and therefore educating the girl child, and therefore moving beyond that is one such background. And let's give you one more example just to say what drives, and people, when somebody asks what is the business connect with what you're doing, this is the business connect. There is no business connect. The thought process of what we bring to the table is what we connect. Just one more example. When we work with the dyeing arts and crafts in the country, it's about craftsmanship. And Titan Company's jewelry is about craftsmanship. Watches is about craftsmanship. And therefore, we are very passionate and we clearly understand what it means to build a craft. And therefore, we associate with reviving craftsmanship in the country. So that's how we link our innate passion and business understanding to these things, and so on and so forth. So that is what drove us to look at some of these themes, look at every program, what we do in each of these verticals through this lens. And therefore, we try and co-create with all types of partners what we see. Now, this is from day one. It is not that we discovered in 3 or 4 years. Of course, what we discovered and what we moved on is much. We will come to it later on. Point number 2, it's also important to realize from that time to this till now, in the country, there has been, in my view, a lot of what you call channelizing thought processes into fewer areas. And now how the fewer areas emerged, was it rocket science? Answer is no. Your schedule 7 pushed you into those 7 or 8 or 10 areas. Honestly, there is one way. But all said and done, if you just look at last 5-6 years, any report what you see, in terms of KPMG report, or anybody who analyzes this CSR trend in this country, typically sits in the top 3-4: education, skilling, healthcare. This keep moving up and down in the top 3. So it is almost like predictable what are the 3 big areas which are the trend in the country. Has it done anything for this sector? Has it changed things? My answer is yes. How much? No. The reason is that each one sees it in their own lens. And I'll come to that point later on. The question is about corporates, etc. So that is a first important shift what has happened. The second shift what has happened is, and again, I would like to distinguish between 2 things. This shift from either from the perspective of the policies of the government or even otherwise the manner in which it has been interpreted and implemented has 2 key stakeholders. I would say 3, perhaps. Let me take 2. One is the corporates who are part of this. The second is the partners through whom which programs get implemented. And I don't want to use the word NGOs and all those, etc. Partners. A partner could be anyone. A partner could be a IIT institute, it could be an NGO, whatever. What has happened here is, the corporates, in my view, some of them still do struggle to figure out, can there be a larger purpose on what we wish to do? Of course, a lot of strong programs are being done. But one key question always keeps coming to me: do corporates collaborate within themselves as much they should be doing? In my view, probably we are not. And I also am equally guilty of that. I know we work with multiple corporates to do, and so that is one. And to top it, all this newer changes, rules and regulations are not really helpful in terms of actually trying to shift gears and do something beyond. Point 1. What is happening to the partners with whom we implement, the NGO sector or anyone? They're also trapped. the so-called FCRA is one type of a trap. When I say trap, it's not from the trap from what the government is trying to do negatively or positively. It's about today they're able to take 2 steps forward and 3 steps backward. And therefore, this is becoming a challenge for some of them. For the others, what is happening is, and let me leave aside for a minute pandemic. Pandemic is an aberration. Okay, there's a lot of consolidation happening in the NGO sector. When I say consolidation, people now seek out professionals who are really good in what they're doing and good in sectors what they are really able to create a difference. Now, corporate is now slowly starting to realize we need to create that difference. And that's happening in the last 3-4 years. The pandemic probably has settled backwards. So these 2 segments and these changes are increasingly becoming bigger and bigger. And hopefully, perhaps the pandemic is behind us, and I presume it's behind us. The next couple of years, we will see a lot of consolidation in the corporate thinking, a lot of consolidations in NGO thinking. And one big fallout of this, and pandemic made it worse. I don't even know how many NGOs are there in this country are registered, not registered, small, big. I don't know, people say lakhs and millions. There's no point in quoting those numbers because it doesn't make me feel better anyway or feel bad anyway. I know for sure many of them have shut shops. Many of them are closed and are struggling seriously. India is still a country of philanthropy, and we should not forget it. Okay, this whole sector of 22,000 crores or 22,000 crores is just one piece of the way development happens in this country in this area. I'm just pausing here, just freewheel to some points because this is purely my hands-on experience in the way I've been participating, interacting, deploying programs, being part of many initiatives in the Tata Group, and I'm just able to realize some of these things. And what will I do? Therefore, we'll come to the answer last.
Yeah, Shridhar, that's the reason we look up to Tata Group. Actually, what you said is not even 1% should come back to the company. So what you invest in CSR, that should completely go to the community and their welfare and their benefit. I think this is something, a great lesson to many new establishments that are going to plan their CSR, the strategize that their CSR. Having strong ethical values would always sustain and strengthen companies' core values. That's something inspiring. Thank you so much for also touching the policy issues.